Ladies and gentlemen, we were just talking about how critical it is to get young people involved, to bring them on board in P4G and also in the effort in general to promote sustainable development. And that's for pretty obvious reasons, as we could see just now in this panel. The young are not yet attached to established patterns. They're thinking outside of the box. They're not thinking in terms of the status quo. And that, of course, is where innovation begins. For that reason, this next session is dedicated to next generation leadership and to charting the way forward. And we've asked two young entrepreneurs to join in dialogue with a leader who is often referred to as the mother of sustainable development for her visionary advocacy that culminated in the 1992 Earth Summit in Rio. So I will ask the speakers to join me now on stage in a second, and I am very honored to welcome, first of all, the former Prime Minister of Norway, the UN Special Envoy on Climate Change, and the acting chair of the Elders, Harlem Brundtland. A very warm welcome to you. So nice to see you. And please take this seat right here, exactly. And I'm very pleased to welcome Samuel Rigu. He is founder and CEO of the decentralized fertilizer producer SAFI Organics. Welcome to you, Samuel. Thank you. Nice to see you. Please take a seat next to Grow. And it's great to have with us Hanny Mulugeta Semere, CEO and co-founder of the mobility app for Ethiopian farmers, Epov. Welcome to you, Hanny. Got some fans here.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
So, great to have all of you with us, and most of the dialogue is going to flow between the three of you. And by the way, I'm going to do the same thing I said in the last panel. We are running a bit behind on time, as I'm sure you've noticed, so if you can keep your questions and answers fairly short, that would be great. And I'll just plunge in, first of all, with one question of my own to prime the pump, as it were, and it's a question to Grow. And your name became absolutely synonymous, of course, with the commission that produced the report on sustainable development, the Brundtland Commission. That report was published 31 years ago. Rio was 26 years ago. It's been a long time. Given what we heard last week from the IPCC, do you get discouraged? Do you think we are going to manage to turn around this unwieldy tanker and get where you told us many years ago we need to be going?
You know, sometimes I have to turn around the kind of degree of pessimism that people can spread and say that the Commission we gave our report 87. It took 28 years before 2015, where both Sustainable Development Goals and the climate agreement in Paris was made. Now, if you think about the drama of the changes in the world, but also the big transformation that is necessary, the radical change. How could 100 and more than 90 countries agree in a very brief period of time? You know, in many ways, I sometimes have to stay optimistic and say, it was fantastic that it did not take more than 28 years, because there is consensus. I am sitting here listening to business people, to prime ministers and presidents. Everyone takes for granted that we are in this together. We are all committed. We have built consensus, but it has taken some decades. And I have seen all the big splits between groups of nations. Nobody feeling that they are really all responsible in some way or fashion. But this happened, you know, in 2015, and now we are on the road to just do what is necessary, which we are hearing here. So, yes, I'm not surprised that the climate report, you know, showed us that we are not far enough ahead, and the next, you know, the checking in 1 year has to show that people are going up in their commitments. That's for sure.
One very quick follow-up question, because you're seated next to two young entrepreneurs, and it's a central theme here, as you've heard, business and business's contribution. So in your spirit of optimism, how do you see the role of business?
You know, we have the World Economic Forum president sitting here. When I was in the World Economic Forum 35 years ago, and even 25 years ago, business people there were saying, oh, social and environmental issues and concerns? Oh, that's interesting. But that's up to governments. They were absolutely telling us it's only the bottom line of our, our business approach and how we can get our positive results. Social and environmental issues, not their plan or not their problem. Now, nobody in World Economic Forum would say that the last 5 or 10 years. So it illustrates how business has come and understood fully, at least every progressive and serious business, that they are part of the solution. And I've seen it coming. It took time. But in this century, more and more businesses, they know. Mm-hmm. Every individual, every business, every government, we are all, and every NGO, we are all in this together. And they know. And we are going to benchmark them, by the way. The United Nations Foundation is making something called the Benchmark Alliance. We are going to rank companies according to their promotion of SDGs. And we will start with agriculture, energy, climate, and digital inclusion and gender. So within 2020, everyone will be counted.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand over now to Hanny, working in the area of agriculture, and to Samuel, to please, also working in the area of agriculture, to please question one from each of you to grow, please.
First of all, I'd just like to thank you for being here and having this discussion with us. I think you are truly an inspiration when we look at sustainable development and how we as youth can participate in it. And you were talking about how it took 28 years, and I'm sure it must have been so difficult and so challenging. So as young people coming into this, dedicating our lives to social impact and sustainable development, what advice do you have to us, or how did you overcome these challenges?
Well, first of all, never give up. Always know that every person can make a difference. You can make a difference. You can do it with others. Never, ever, even think about it. This is your life, your commitment. All of us can be engaged in something. And we can all do our parts. And, what makes you tick is what you should really lean forward doing. And there are so many different aspects of the whole agenda of Sustainable Development Goals. There is something there for everybody. So engagement, being active, and voting. And now I'm talking not only to a businesswoman, but to everybody, because we need our democracies to be alive and active. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Samuel?
In line with what you just mentioned, that everyone can do something, I'm just concerned, as young people, as the young generation, when you started this vision of the Sustainable Development Goals, do you think we are doing enough, or do we have to do something extra, and what would that be?
Well, we certainly have to do a lot extra compared to what we are doing now.
Sure.
Because obviously, the consensus about the commitments, including equality, including energy, including climate, including gender. Only 5 or 10 years ago, it was not clear that we would be able to get consensus on an agenda of that total and important impact. However, we are far from there. So yes, there is things to be done in every country, and certainly in many countries. For instance, on your continent, many people don't have their human rights. They don't have their right to education or health, and they don't have access to clean energy. So obviously, We have a lot to do. So in your lifetime, you have a chance to get up every morning and do an important job.
Sure.
For the whole of the global community.
Yeah. Thank you, Mom.
Don't we absolutely see why they call you the mother of sustainable development? Let me put the questioning back to you now, Grove. What questions do you have for the two of them?
Well, you know, so who do you miss as working partners? I mean, where you are and what you are doing, what are you lacking in support? Is it government? National government? Is it local government? Is it people around you? Those who are working with? Where are the things that you really miss in order to get forward more quickly?
Growing up in a rural area, I experienced firsthand the challenges farmers face.
Farmers, yes.
And we came up with a technology that can decentralize fertilizer production, yes, making it possible to implement it in villages, in local villages. We have done the first pilot, and we are impacting 2,500 farmers currently. Yeah. And one of the biggest challenges in my country is that the government subsidizes imported fertilizer. And the local fertilizer, there is no policy, really, no policy that governs the local production of fertilizer. So we look at a time when the government can come in and come up with policies that can enable us young entrepreneurs come with these great ideas and bring a change into the system.
To change into the policy area.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's a big area. And now that in the next 3 years, we are looking ourselves, our big dream is to impact at least 3 million farmers, that they can use our product and increase their yields. Yeah. So for us to do that, we would like the governments to come in and enable us. Having created an enabling environment, we are looking also beyond the government. We are also looking for partners who we can work with in terms of the distribution channel and reaching the smallholder farmers where they are. So the government can come in and also support in the finance in terms of expansion and moving to other areas. Because what you're doing has a potential to go beyond Kenya and also to other African countries. Yeah.
Great. But your government should make differences, in the policy.
Yes, we need that.
Most good governments realize that change is necessary to move forward.
Right.
So your government should, too.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, clear message there. Question for Hanny. Same question.
Well, first of all, similar to Samuel, I ventured into social entrepreneurship just a year ago, where we tried to help farmers through my startup called Epov that I co-founded. We try to help farmers in rural and isolated parts of Ethiopia to access transportation through their mobile phones, kind of like Uber for farmers. And we, through the different stages that we had to go through to make this a reality, we really looked out and seeked out the government for partnerships. And honestly, I would like to thank them for opening their arms and saying, okay, what can we do to help? And obviously, I'd like to say thank you to the president, Ato Mulugeta, that's here as well, and hopefully we can continue discussions. However, there are also systems, traditional systems that are rigid and in place, certain bureaucratic systems that don't allow for fully, for young entrepreneurs or innovators or academics to fully venture into change. You said before, there needs to be radical change, but for this to happen, we were drowning in months and months of paperwork and bureaucratic this and that, but this is not inviting for young people to venture into making sustainable development. And we really need to change that, change the message and say, we encourage you to make a change. We want to help you. So can we make it easier for young people to do this? And absolutely, governments working with the people, working with our people, we can definitely make it easier, and we can definitely push for young people across all sectors. I'd like to say that I'm privileged enough, to have had an education, and I realize that to be here discussing this with you and to be in front of all of you guys today. But there are others that may not have the possibilities and the chances that I've gotten. It still needs to get to them, the message of sustainable development and the opportunities to venture into innovative solutions for a better, greener, cleaner tomorrow, which is, I think, what we all want.
Well, you are a good activist, So, because what we need, because what we need, of course, is also young people engaging in their own communities, supporting your new ideas, being part of the building a new awareness. So this is also politics or policies, engagement, people being interested in voting, in having an opinion, in having, being happy about having an Ethiopian government that is supporting you.
Absolutely.
But maybe you don't have all the support at all the local levels that you need. So political activism is also part of what is needed to promote sustainable development.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to all three of you. I'm afraid we will have to leave it there, but what a very inspiring dialogue we have had. Thank you so much. Let's give them a warm round of applause.
Thank you very much, Melinda.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Very good.
Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you.
What a pleasure. Thank you.